At this point in my LP collection, I can see that I am definitely in the mid to late 70s, and some albums that I just listened to constantly when I was in high school and early years of college. So, Journey, Departure. I was a huge Journey fan. Styx and Journey were probably my two favorite artists in high school and college, along with Foreigner. Uh, I actually got to see Journey at one of those Summer Jam events at Arrowhead Stadium. But I think Any Way You Want It is on here, yes. And Precious Time's a great song. Where Were You? So some good tunes on here. Not Journey's best album, but I still loved it. Always loved their cover art. It was this mystical, mythological thing going on. Now another classic Journey album, Escape. Uh, this is the last Journey album I ever bought, but there are a lot of great songs on here, and this was Journey's real rise to commercial success. Don't Stop Believin'. If you watch The Sopranos, that song will never be the same because of it being the last song in The Sopranos. Stone in Love, Who's Crying Now? Good songs on here, but it was the last Journey album I bought. This would have to be one of my favorite albums of all time, Queen, A Night at the Opera. What they accomplished in the 70s, and the talent in this band, the songwriting, the diversity, the level of musicianship, their willingness to take chances, and what they accomplished on this album. The song Bohemian Rhapsody, the enduring appeal of that song. There are parts of that song when I hear those, I am right back in, what's it, 1975, I think this was released. But such a time capsule, such a great artistic achievement. And I keep remembering that Freddie Mercury even did the album art for a lot of their albums. And if you ever want to talk about the best front man or front woman in all of music, Freddie Mercury would have to be one of the best front men of all. He could own a stadium full of people and have them in the palm of his hand. So great artists, and A Night at the Opera I think would have to be my favorite Queen album. I think I've gone through this one before. I must have two copies of this, which means one of them is not mine. But Spandau Ballet, True. So the title cut, a great 80s pop song, and Gold I think is on there too. So a couple of good tunes. I don't listen to it that much, but this one I know is not mine. Must have come from a thrift store. Blood, Sweat, and Tears. But I love having this. I think classic bands like this, it would be cool to just get that out and listen to it start to finish, and see where it goes. That nice 70s rock sound. The St. Louis Jesuits, Earthen Vessels. This I know was my mom's or maybe my brother Keith's, but we loved this. We loved this group at my house growing up. I used to get the guitar out, and we would have a few of us would sing along to some of these church songs, and along with Earthen Vessels is the other album, another from them, A Dwelling Place. So the St. Louis Jesuits were big at our house growing up, and I played a lot in the guitar group at church, and St. Louis Jesuit songs were all over what we played. Very obscure band from the 80s called Vitamin Z, a song called Burning Flame. I loved that song. It was an MTV hit, and I bought the album, never heavily got into it, but I do love that song, Burning Flame. It was worth just buying the album for that. I loved the Eurythmics. Their first few albums, I think, again, this might be my last Eurythmics album that I ever bought. Loved their debut. I loved Touch, and this Missionary Man is on here. I think that's a really cool song. It's not my favorite Eurythmics album, but that song Missionary Man is one of my favorite Eurythmics tunes. This is kind of a funny one. Wham's debut album, Fantastic. And I know it looks cheesy. They were actually more of a rap band in the early days. George Michael was quite the rapper, and they had kind of this British funky vibe going, and they rapped over that. They definitely evolved more into the pop stars that they became, but their debut album is much more hip hop and some rap over good British funk. The last one in this section, The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. I love The Cure. Lots of lot of Cure songs that I love. I have mentioned Standing on a Beach, the singles. The Head on the Door was, I think, my favorite Cure album. My brother Steve introduced me to him, but I also bought this one, and this is The Cure getting a little happier, if you can imagine that. So 10 more albums ahead. Thanks for watching.